Hello everyone, welcome to the Belt and Road Face to Face.
Terrorist attack, it should be correctly called terrorist attack attempt.
Militant groups in Balochistan, they are against these CPEC, particularly the Gwadar port and all these operations.
I don't think the CPEC is the target.
The Pakistan Army and the Chinese Army people, we work together. They're playing a very vital role in the region.
I'm also worrying about something in the future might happen in India.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Belt and Road Face to Face. Our program is co-produced by China Economic Net and Vash News Television. I'm Zoon Ahmed Khan from China Economic Net, and today I'm pleased to be joined in our studio by Dr. Sajid Khursheed, who is teacher at Canadian International School of Beijing, and Chung Shijong, visiting professor of Southwest University of Political Science and Law, and also former defense attaché in South Asian countries. Let's enter the first part of our program, Hotspot. Pakistan's Balochistan province suffered a wave of terrorist attacks in mid-May. After an attack at a five-star hotel in Gwadar, a bomb blast also happened in Quetta, which is the capital city of Balochistan. So why did the Pakistani terrorist organizations plot more attacks this year? Is the Pakistani government's crackdown efforts sufficient or not? These attacks happened back to back at this period.
Yep.
What kind of questions should we be asking? How do you interpret?
These terrorist attacks, strikes started in 2000 approximately, and it was a peak time in 2009 in fact. But along with that, the Pakistani army, along with the other security agencies, they tried to stop these kind of things as much as possible. But in 2013, when there was a huge attacks in a number of different places, then the government and the Pakistan army decided to attack a very massive operation against those militants. So they started Operation Zarb-e-Azb, and that was a really a great the offense that they started against those militant groups, and that was very successful. And right after those, within 1 to 2 years program, the time and the most of the areas has been cleared, and that definitely the Pakistan Army and other security agencies doing a lot in order to stop these operations, in order to maintain a high quality safety and stability in the country.
The timing of these attacks, the chosen location of these attacks being Balochistan, also Quetta as well as Gwadar, and then the question about CPEC. Do you think there is a connection between these two?
I do not think, though something has happened, I do not think the situation is so serious. And the definition, terrorist attack, it should be correctly called terrorist attack attempt. You know, last November 23rd, terrorist attack attempt against our Consulate General in Karachi. And this month, May 15th, another terrorist attack attempt in Gwadar. Because these two have been defeated by the security forces. Otherwise, if, for example, this time the Pearl Continental Hotel, if they have succeeded, there will be big bombing, and I think the casualties will be something like several dozen or even 100. So that will be very, very serious. That shows the Pakistani army and the law enforcement agencies, the soldiers, officers, they are very capable, experienced. They have defeated the attempt, the target. In South Asia recently, the series of attacks in Sri Lanka and this time in Gwadar. So mainly the target is churches and hotels. That means the target is very clear, the tourists from the West. So this this is very clear. I don't think the CPEC is the target.
What is the impact of such incidents? What happened in Sri Lanka? What happened in Balochistan? How do the Chinese feel?
We
Does
feel,
does it affect the BRI in any way?
we feel that in South Asia already it's very clear. Terrorism is the common enemy of all the countries. India, though something serious has not happened yet, but as the main body in South Asia, I'm also worrying about something in the future might happen in India, because terrorist groups also they are moving in India. That's why I wish India will also play a positive role to have cooperation with the neighboring countries, with Pakistan, join hands. If India and other countries have problems, then that may be used by the terrorist organizations. Should take use of it.
Take use of the existing mistrust between the governments?
Yes, make use of it. That's why India and Pakistan and other countries should have joint, concerted efforts to crack down terrorism. Otherwise, it will be a disaster in South Asia. The security situation will be very, very more and more serious.
And China is a very direct stakeholder in the security situation in the region. Mr. Khursheed.
If we are talking about with respect to CPEC and respect to the BRI, and in particular with respect to the Gwadar port, Gwadar is a hub of the economic corridor between Pakistan and China, and that is one of the major activities playing in Pakistan-China economic corridor. Militant groups in Balochistan, they are against these CPEC, particularly the Gwadar port and all these operations, because the Gwadar port and mostly its operations, business operations, are dealing with the Chinese people and done by the Chinese people.
Why is that a problem?
Because the thing is that they don't want that it should be beneficial for the local government, and everybody knows that those militant groups, they are talking, they are funding and operating by the other anti-CPEC organizations, including the countries itself.
I'm quite confident about the Pakistani capability to safeguard the CPEC and the Chinese projects, because you have a very strong deployment, and I don't think the terrorists...
Compare what happened in Sri Lanka with what happened in Pakistan these days.
Yes.
That was unsuccessful, the law enforcement, for whatever
Both,
reasons.
even
they
in
were
Karachi
not prepared.
also,
And in Pakistan, in Gwadar as well as Quetta, they were prepared. So in that sense, we do have an advantage. Pakistan has very tangible experience.
And also
Mr.
intelligence job is excellent. You have arrested so many suspects.
Yeah.
So that means you have already stopped many terrorist attacks. So the Pakistani security situation, I do not think is so bad.
Yeah. So you don't think that security is the pain point of CPEC? Do you agree with this statement, or is it a perception?
I think we can do a good job to protect the CPEC and the projects, and there is not much problem, because the Pakistani government, the army, they have paid so much attention to this point. I think Pakistan will succeed.
Let's hope for that. And with that, we will move on to the Vash News Television and see what they are concerned about.
पोर्ट सिटी और सीपैक के राह पहरे जगह 6 बड़ी हिफाजती राहबंद दरकार है.
A country, for security situation, we should have a general strategy and also a strategic planning. I think for this, Pakistan is doing a good job, but mainly up to now, mainly you use manpower. You deploy a lot of people. I think technology should be applied in the system, so that we can use technology to make sure that the projects will be safe.
Both the Pakistan and the Chinese forces, in terms of the armed forces and the security agencies, if they work together, especially in terms of the transfer of technology, because we might need some latest kind of technologies to use in order to stop these kind of things. But if you look at these two latest, like Chinese consulate and the Gwadar hotel attacks, that was strongly condemned by and stopped by even by the security agencies at the entrance. They lost their valuable lives, but they don't allow those terrorists to go inside the consulate or in the hotel. So similarly, if 2 weeks ago, the Pakistan Army ISPR, they had the conference, and they explained each and everything about those militant groups, and they got each and every information. So our ISI is playing a very important role, and they're getting each and every information about those militants, so those who are funding them, where they are getting those informations and everything. So that is already clear, in fact. And I think the Pakistan Army and the Chinese Army people, we work together. We're playing a very vital role in the region for the stability of these security issues.
Thank you. With that, we wrap the first segment of our program. Thank you for watching.
Development is absolute principle.
20 to 40% people in our country, they are living in a very, you can say, a low profile of life.
We have to find a way out. I think that's why we call it reforms.
So if those departments, they are not stable, definitely that impacts on the Pakistani economy.
If the new loan is to return the new old ones, then that is not productive.
You are watching the Belt and Road Face to Face. We are moving to the second part of our program, Figure. Pakistan and the International Monetary Fund reached an agreement securing a US $6 billion bailout package after a 10-month-long negotiation. In addition, Pakistan will borrow $2 to $3 billion from the World Bank and Asian Development Bank over the next 3 years. In the long run, it is still unclear whether these loans will boost Pakistani economy or become a debt trap for Pakistan. The IMF's loan agreement includes solving the deficit problem of state-owned enterprises, broadening the tax base, and increasing power prices. According to Wall Street Journal, only 1 million people in Pakistan pay income tax. If the tax base is broadened, can the people of Pakistan accept it? Joining us right now is Chaudhry Imtiaz Hussain, who is a senior analyst on political affairs and international relations. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Chaudhry Imtiaz. So my first question for you is, what can the implications be for the result of this negotiation with the IMF? Can we look at some kind of backlash from the people? Can it be beneficial for Pakistan's economy given the current situation?
I guess that this is not beneficial to the people of Pakistan at this stage, not because the terms which have been agreed with the IMF, those are hard, and certainly it will have effect on the price hike, and you see other utility charges will be increased, petrol prices will be increased, and these type of will happen, and further there will be aggravation of price hike. So not good, but Pakistan has no choice at this moment. You see that the $95 billion loan that is still pending to pay by the government because of previous governments. So present government, which is very fair and you see honest with the people and bringing everything before the people without hiding anything. So I guess that this is a bitter pill which has to be taken by people, and but there's need of some steps at the part of state.
So there's another aspect that for now the Pakistani people want to enjoy welfare policies proposed by the new government, while at the same time they don't want a tax increase. You mentioned that the people of Pakistan trust this government more and things are pretty open. They know that this is a necessary evil supposedly to get to a better economy. But still, how to maintain the support of Pakistani people? Do you think by allowing the IMF to propose needed changes in the economy, it can result in losing people's support by PTI?
I have been given my suggestion on different my programs that the FDR should create a sort of collection agent system. Okay. The associations of traders in different markets, they should be treated as and made as collection agents, and they should be negotiated and discussed about the rate of taxes from the shopkeepers and the traders in their domain, and with their understanding. So if that tax is fixed with understanding and with agreement of their trade bodies and associations, And I feel that the people will not feel any type of ill feel felt to give the tax to the government. And so by that way, tax broadening can also be made. And the second thing is that the reforms in the restructuring of the FBR, that will also make create a sort of trust among the people that they will not be penalized unnecessarily or harassed unnecessarily if they will pay.
It may give them a positive boost. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for the insightful comments. A lot of people are interpreting the IMF's policies or proposition in a negative light, but actually this is quite compatible with where we need to go.
Like the Prime Minister Imran Khan, they recently launched some different schemes for the Nojawan young people. And in order to promote those skills, and around 20 to 40% people in our country, they are living in a very, you can say, a low profile of life. So in order to give them the loans, which they can establish the small and the medium enterprises, they can create their own industries. And that way, that we can increase lots of business opportunities, not only for the local, the people who are unemployed, the people who want to do something, the people who they need a financial support, they can use these kind of the funding. But on the other side, as soon as we promote these kind of or use these kind of funding in different industries to promote, which are almost like on a dead shape, and we can boost those industries to make up more productive and more productions, and those productions we can export not only the neighboring countries, even the rest of the world.
So my point is that if the loan like 6 billion, then plus 5 billion US dollars, if the loan, new loan is for to return the new old ones, then that is not productive. If the loan is for development, then that will solve some problems. So that is also good for the future of the country. So last time I said, development, as our great leader Deng Xiaoping said, development is the absolute principle. So we have to develop the country. This is a development. Only through development we can solve all the problems. Now Pakistan has employment problem, and low development rate. It will be drop. Last year it was something. Then this year it seems that the development rate will be lower than last year.
Even we were making some recovery.
And also, high inflation, and the people, you would like to increase the tax base. Then I have sympathy for the poor people. It is not, the problem whether they agree or not. They can afford to pay tax or not.
Yes,
this is the problem.
That's the thing. It's
so
not
that's
a
why
question
we should
of
push. No, that's why my conclusion is that we should, push forward the development of CPEC and also industrial parks.
Yeah.
So
there was one thing that that Mr. Hussain said, which I'm not sure what's your take on that, because the assumption is that Pakistan must necessarily privatize state-owned enterprises. But you see, the kind of services that PIA, the railways, they are providing are not for private companies. They go out of their way sometimes to serve the people. And China is big on state-owned enterprises. Do you disagree with his point?
So this is a kind of warfare actually for the people. And that's why government companies lose, like railway, aviation, and these government companies are not making money for the government.
So should that be changed? Should they be run differently, or should they? Once you lose them, you can't bring them back.
We have to find a way out. I think that's why we call it reforms.
I strongly suggest on this platform, based on this discussion, that Pakistan should consult Chinese on how they successfully manage their state-owned enterprises, because at this time losing them would mean there's no turning back. And for China, the model of state-owned enterprises has worked. With that, we will go to the Vash News television studio and see what they are concerned about.
पाकिस्तानाच्या मजबुरी IMF तुरंदे शर्त मन्नक कप्तां चीन गुमाना प पाकिस्तान देगा कुजाम राहोदा रास्ता
I think long time planning and strategy are required. If we have problem now, we solve the problem, then another problem comes up, then we try to solve that problem. So we have to have long time planning and a strategy. And again, I stress there should be high consensus among all the political parties.
In fact, in reality, as we discussed that the Pakistani government need money to run the operations. They need money to run those big organizations, including PIA, Railway, BAPTA, and all of these kind of things. So if those departments, they are not stable, definitely that impacts on the Pakistani economy. And definitely we do agree that because of these loans, the dollar is going up, and there are lots of inflation in the country, and the people, they are suffering a lot. But I'm still confident and positive that these might be a small terms, but let's see in the rest of the 4 years, the Prime Minister still be positive in order to do all of these kind of measures. But again, if these loans are using for the welfare, as we discussed, for the development of these organizations and for the welfare for the people, definitely in the long run, the people will be benefiting.
So with that, we close our second segment and look forward to the third one, where we discuss CPEC and how successful it has been.
Generally speaking, the East civilization is more developed than the West, because the West has a short history.
Not only for China, even all the neighboring countries, in particular with Asia, to help and learn from each other's governance.
If we do not have knowledge about the ancient things, then we cannot develop ourselves.
Really important to protect and preserve those civilizations as much as possible with our internal resources as well as external resources.
Welcome back. You are watching the Belt and Road Face to Face. Let's enter the third part of our program, culture. The Conference on Dialogue of Asian Civilizations was held in Beijing. This is the first time that Asian countries have gathered to conduct cross-culture exchanges and share their experiences. As an important neighbor and all-weather strategic partner of China, Pakistan will actively participate in the forums and Asian culture carnivals in future such interactions. National History and Literary Heritage Division of Pakistan also sent 3 experts and 19 precious pieces from the collection of the Islamabad Museum to participate. The Gandhara culture relics of the Peshawar Museum in Pakistan are going to be shown during the Asian Civilizations joint exhibition. How about the protection of traditional Pakistani culture? What is the situation right now? Let's ask you, Dr. Sajid.
The Pakistani culture is very diverse because of its ethnic groups, because of its geographical locations. And we have like Punjabis, Hindis, Sikhs, and all these kind of minorities there. There are around more than 15 minorities in Pakistan. And each and every minority, they are representing their own culture. That's why if you're talking about the Gandhara civilization, including the Texla, Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, they have a huge civilization, in fact. And what we should do is, with respect to to protect those things, and there are lots of Chinese, they are coming to Pakistan in the recent years in terms of the tourism to visualize these kind of the civilizations. And the Pakistani civilization is one of the ancient civilizations in Asia, along with other civilizations. That's why the tourists all over the world, not even from China, they are trying to visit Pakistan to look at those civilizations. So this is, I think, something really important to protect and preserve those civilizations as much as possible with our internal resources as well as external resources, where the UNESCO can play a very vital role, in fact.
You know, Mr. Chung, I was recently attending a session on Pakistan's Baltistan area, where we have a lot of heritage from the Tibetan. So Gandhara is there, Tibetan civilization is there. But a lot of times there's no awareness about how important it is to to retain this heritage and how to benefit from it exactly. But China has had good experience, even though there was a period when a lot of historical sites in China were being reconstructed for modernization, but then there was a realization.
A lot of things, were stolen or taken away by the aggressors.
And similarly for South Asia, when we were colonized by the British, a lot of our very precious heritage was lost, was taken away. But today China is doing a fantastic job at promoting and also educating. What can Pakistan learn?
Actually, in the world, there were several civilizations. But because of protection, the Chinese civilization and also South Asian civilization are still existing so well. And Pakistan is part of the South Asian civilization. We two civilizations, are still existing so well because
we were too big
because of protection,
because of population. So, but then let's come to the part of the vision of CPEC. How important is the vision of going back to civilizations dialogue in today's world?
I think to exchange experiences by several civilizations. Actually, the East civilization. Generally speaking, the East civilization is more, developed than the West, because the West has a short history and the East has a long history. That includes, ASEAN countries, South Asian countries,
Middle Eastern, African.
Representing each and every country have their own cultural values and norms. But if we compare like one country's culture to the other ones, like Pakistan with others, Pakistan with Chinese culture, there are lots of cultural things that are very similar to that, but then their shapes are different. Like Chinese New Year, they celebrate Chinese New Year, like new clothings, lots of meals, inviting their friends, guests at home, giving red packets to the kids. Similarly, we do have the same event is called Eid, like after the fasting month and the other events. So where we celebrate in exactly the same way. We do have like clothings and inviting friends and relatives at home, big meals, like for example, giving the money to the small kids. My mom, I remember, still giving me money on the Eid festivals.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's in a few weeks.
And I give the money to my niece and nephews. So because this is the tradition. So similarly, like kites, flying kites in our country and China, very similar, but the shapes are slightly different. Similarly, if you look at about the all ancient the Asian civilization, starting from the Silk Road, the China is one. That's why they took initiative to start these kind of the conversation, and that really helpful not only for China, even all the neighboring countries, in particular with Asia, to help and learn from each other's governance, the people-to-people interaction. Similarly, about how we can learn from the other countries if they're doing in a better way.
We should study the ancient things, then develop. If we do not have knowledge about the ancient things, then we cannot develop ourselves.
There is a Pakistani movie telecasted twice, and the Chinese people, they loved a lot. So I think this is really a good gesture, that if the Pakistani media, like including dramas, the movies, and all of this stuff is coming to the Chinese television programs, as well as on the cinema, and I think the Chinese people, they love to watch these movies.
English?
There's an Urdu, but they have a Chinese.
They have also Chinese
subtitles.
So with that, I think even Vash News Television's question is similar from what I remember discussing with them. Let's go to the Vash News Television studio.
मावती मर्दों आणि रवागो आहागे प्रोग्राम कुमका ग्वादर प्रो और न्यूज़ चैनल चेवड़ा कारबस्त कने.
Media, I think, economic net is doing a good job. Every day they release so many pieces of information, articles, and they pay more attention to the English website, so they publish. And I myself normally try to write in English so that the Pakistani people can understand. So almost no Chinese articles, all the English. And Sajid, you can also, can make contributions. And about the people to people, I think still because of some reasons like a visa reason, like security situation reason, still there is quite limit of exchanges, and the Chinese people now they are so fond of having tours all over the world. Like my family, they try to target that country, then there will be a flood of the Chinese people.
So let's look forward to that flood to promote Pakistan's tourism and other related economies. Thank you for watching. Until next time.